Hi!
Welcome to another episode of Podmas. This one is special and different because you've actually got video and you can see us.
Very
And-
magical.
Well,
Christmas
yeah,
vibes.
if you're listening to this on Spotify, you can also still see the video. So make
Yes.
sure. Otherwise, this makes no sense and you'll have no context.
Maybe go
but-
on to Spotify to watch
Yes.
if you're interested.
Exactly. And we're in Isabella's lovely apartment
We are.
that has provided us
Ta-da.
with these beautiful backlights and backdrop. And we are going to talk about being single in this season,
Yep.
also known as cuffing season.
Yep. I'm going through the works, guys. I'm going through the works.
I honestly do feel like it's probably the season where it's most difficult to be single, where you're like most craving to have someone.
I'm summer. I was like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I love being single. And now me and my friend text each other every day, being like, why do we want boyfriends?
It's honestly, it is
because it's
the
cozy
messaging
season.
around the season,
yeah.
like what you can do with people, and it's like all of these activities, all of
Yeah.
the holiday romance movies and stuff.
Literally, I watched Chalet Girl the other day. I thought,
my
right, I want
God.
that. I want to have a ski romance.
I'm gonna watch that movie again.
Yeah. It was the first time I'd
haven't-
watched it, and it was actually I know. I haven't watched movies. Yeah. I'm not a big movie girl. And then sometimes so I only watched How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days the start of this year. But now it's literally one of my favourite movies.
Yeah, that one is so iconic.
It's really iconic.
Didn't you have the dress or
Yeah.
something? Yeah.
So for my birthday, then I found the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days dress. And that was what
I'll try insert a photo.
Yeah. Ooh.
I don't know if I'm
Editing queen.
I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Maybe I'll post it on my stories instead when I talk about this episode.
Okay.
When we publish the episode. Let's see. Maybe I
We'll
was an
see.
editing genius and I've managed to do it. But anyways, obviously we've got Isabella here, and you guys potentially know her, potentially don't.
I feel like probably not.
So maybe you can just give an intro.
Okay, hi, I'm Isabella. I'm 21 and I've lived in Amsterdam for nearly 2 months. This is my apartment if you're watching it. Me and Leo met through a mutual friend.
Should we give her a shout out?
Miss Rosie Breen, we love you. And yeah, we've been friends just before I moved here.
Yeah.
Because Leo was moving, so we were chatting so much about finding an apartment and everything.
Yeah, we went through the works pretty much at a super similar time.
Literally,
I think
almost
the
same time.
first week I moved here, you were looking at apartments.
Yeah, and then I moved 10 days later.
Yeah, because you found an apartment so quick.
My God, so quickly.
Which, if you know Amsterdam, you know that's a feat in itself to manage, especially if it's a cute flat like this one is in a really good area. So
I got so lucky.
You've done very well.
I know. My brother came around last night, and he saw my apartment for the first time, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna move actually.
I honestly don't think
I just love it.
Yeah.
It's just feels like my home. I will see how I feel in a year's time, but
that's
for
so
now
nice. I'm gonna have to move.
I'm so upset that you have to move because Leo's flat is the most gorgeous flat in the world.
I really love it, and I'm gonna have to say goodbye. Maybe I'll try and record at least one episode.
You should. You could do a cozy little setup in there.
Yeah, I could. If I get cool mics like these, look at these fancy things.
Little fun.
I don't know exactly how
ones.
far away to hold them, so I hope
I think we're fine. So sorry if we're deafening you.
Yeah, we do apologize. Maybe I can fine tune it.
Ooh, maybe
I can make us louder or quieter.
That's
I do have
exciting.
those skills. Cara is the editing genius of the two of us. I'm basic editing skills. Cara is honestly she's fixed some mistakes which were unfixable.
Wow.
Yeah.
We all need a car in our lives.
We do need her. Okay, so before we get into the episode topic, we'll do just very quickly highs and lows.
Okay.
So shall I start?
Maybe you start.
Okay.
Do we do one high, one low, or just carry on? See where the wind takes us.
Just both of them. I'm gonna do highs and lows, and then you can do yours.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and keep this quick because I normally am not very quick at saying these. But my high this week was basically I had a bit. No, I'll start with the low. Okay, so my low this week was that I was feeling on Monday. I feel specifically I was feeling quite down, and I'd been feeling quite anxious, and I was overthinking things. And I think this also goes into moving to a new place. I was just overthinking a lot of things of oh, am I doing enough? Am I doing the right things? And I feel like I've got like all these different areas of like relationship, job, podcast, like making new friends or old friends, like, you know, making sure you're keeping up with them. And I just felt like I like wasn't doing enough in any of the areas, and that was making me feel a bit down. And I just didn't have like a lot of energy and all that.
I feel like it's the season as well.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like it's like one battle after another. I feel like sometimes.
Yeah, it is tough. Seasonal depression to be. But no. But then I feel like I like turned it around, and I give credit to a book that I read. So I read One Christmas Morning by Rachel Greenlaw, and I feel like it gave me the like push I needed. The book I can really recommend. We mentioned it in our like Christmas book Podmas episode as like one that I wanted to read, and I read it literally. I think in total I took like 3 to 4 hours to read it, because I took like
nice
2 mornings
for a book,
like. It was perfect. It's like a bit over like 300 pages, so it was not too intense, not too much. But it was just like the story about this woman who kind of like drifted off in her life and like got too obsessed with work and everything. And then it's this Christmas season, stuff from her past is coming up, and she basically has this day, and to fix her marriage, her friendships, kind of everything.
Oh, wow.
And she keeps reliving it out of different perspectives from like people around her. So she gets to be in like her friend's body, her like friend's husband's body, etc., or her assistant's body, to kind of like see the other people's perspectives.
Yeah.
And in the end, obviously, she has some sort of realization of what she should be doing with her life, or where she's maybe gone wrong, or thinks she's prioritized not quite right. And I just feel like it like really gave me a lot of hope, and like just shifted perspectives for me. And I love when books do that. Or same with like movies. That's like, what is it called? About Time. Like that one always does it for me. Watch it tonight. Okay. Honestly, like that movie is like the one I'd watch or recommend watching to anyone if you feel like you're like a little bit in a funk or like anything. Ooh, but even at any time, because it's just it makes you realize how like special life is, and like how much you should seize like every day. And this book kind of gave me like the same vibe after I'd read it. So I finished it, or I read it Monday or Tuesday, anyways, and then I just started Monday, finished it Tuesday, and I just feel like it gave me the boost I needed. And
we went for a workout class yesterday.
And I've just been feeling like a lot better and like more peace.
I recorded a podcast episode literally like on Monday, and about like moving to a new city alone and everything, and like I just kept coming back to the fact that mindset is everything. And it honestly, the more like the older I get and the more like experiences I have, I feel like I just realize that everything is to do with mindset, like every aspect of life. Whether you're in a funk, whether you want to get healthy, whether you want to meet new friends, whether you want to move somewhere, like everything is just about mindset. Like every situation could be seen as negative or positive, but it's just all about mindset.
And your perspective can shift, and then it's just like you can be in exactly the same circumstance, but you just like see it differently, and then in turn like your attitude is different, and then your day and your life is actually so much better. So it's crazy. But I've been babbling on for long enough. I did not keep it short.
Okay. My high. Let me think. I feel like my life is one constant high since moving that time. So. But if I would say one thing, probably, I think this week I've had more nights. I say more. Literally, I've had 2 nights where I've like had alone time. And it's been so lovely, because I feel like I have been so busy every night doing things, seeing friends, or like being just like literally so busy, and then I always worry about getting to those alone moments and just like apprehensive about how I'm gonna feel. And I had like the nicest 2 nights.
That's so interesting. So like, are you like normally, would you describe yourself as like an extrovert or an introvert? Or
I used to be a massive introvert, but I think I'm an extrovert. Like, and I think I even when I was an introvert, I think I like acted extroverted really. Like I could like pretend I was extroverted really well. Like in social situations, but I would always like want to just be like cozy at home with my boyfriend. Well, at the time. But like, so like now I think I'm just like, I'm actually extroverted, because I like going out, I like doing things, like being busy, I think. So that was one of my highs. Another high is I've started properly learning Dutch.
That's actually, I literally saw on your TikTok today
Yeah.
that you did like a Dutch get
Yeah.
ready with me, and I was like, wow, fucking hell, you like disguise how good you speak Dutch.
Well, but that was in the comfort of my own home, in front of like a camera though I could do retakes and stuff. So like,
still, I'm very impressed.
I'm really trying.
To be fair, you are half Dutch, so I feel like it's in your blood.
Well, you'd
Simmering somewhere.
So. It's somewhere there, isn't it?
It
so
is.
I'm very on my learning Dutch era. So like my two highs. I don't think I have a low.
That's good. We don't have to have a low.
Maybe stressful situation with a boy this morning. That might be my low.
Did
ruin my Pilates class, you know?
No.
Because I just felt really like anxious about like feeling guilty. I was just like, how have I ended up in this situation?
To be fair, I feel like that's also maybe one of the downsides of being single is like you end up just coming in contact with so many people that like take your energy in like different ways.
Yeah, that's such a good way to put it. Like he really just did take my energy.
Yeah, and it's also like it's effort and like mental headspace that you then have to expend into like thinking about what to reply to them or thinking about how to not hurt people or.
No, because I don't want to hurt people's feelings.
But that is dating. Like you're gonna hurt people and they're gonna hurt you. Like,
yeah, true.
On the way to finding love is hurt all around.
Is that a jingle?
What a
that should be this week's jingle.
Just heartbreak. In another episode that we did about like a love or like dating advice, my friend was like, men. Oh, I've forgotten what it was, but it was. Well, I'm gonna cut it out. But okay, shall we get into the questions?
Yes.
So I asked on Instagram, as I always do, for you guys to ask your questions that you had about being single in holiday season and all that. Obviously, like I also have experience with it because I have been single in the past. Like me and Marco. So I can give a very brief history, and then I want you to give like your history and current status.
Scary.
But basically, I first got into my relationship, like my first relationship, when I was 18, when I came to uni. But I very much like never had a relationship throughout all of school. And then I was with my ex for like 3 and a bit years, and then I was single for a good 2 years, and then I met my current boyfriend. When I was 23, and now I'm 25, so now we've been together for a bit over 2 years. So, but I was probably single at like a similar time period almost to you, like from like 21 to 20. I'm not saying that you're gonna be single for 2 years, but like I was single, from 21 to 23, and obviously in my teenage years, but different vibes. Yeah.
So this is my first ever Christmas on my own.
No way.
Well, the year me and my ex met, we kind of started speaking in December, and we got together in January.
Yeah.
So
the like pre-dating phase definitely does.
And I was 15. No, I was 16. So.
Yeah. Oh shit!
Do you not know okay? Me and my ex were together for 4 years.
No, I did realize, but I didn't realize that then it would have been so young.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. So from 16 to 20, we were together.
That's mad.
And we broke up 7 or 8 months ago now.
Yeah.
And I've been on my single era journey ever since. Boring. But actually,
it's very exciting.
It's very exciting. I do love it. And so this is gonna be my first like holiday season.
Yeah.
By myself. I spent every New Year, every Christmas together, like for the last 4 years. And then this year, me and my best friend were like, I can't believe we would spend New Year's with smelly, rotten boys. Like, why would we do that? That's so silly. Rah, rah, rah. And this year, we're both spending it in Amsterdam together.
Oh,
so
that's
excited.
So. I feel like that is the like beautiful thing about being single is that you get to invest so much more energy and time into like your female friendships or like generally friendships. Like, I don't think my friendships that I made in London would be where they are now if I hadn't like really been able to put them first in that time.
Even I've noticed since May, obviously I was close with my female friends. I have really I'm such a strong believer in like seriously quality female friends. And I have like quite a lot of like really close friends, but since May they've like that connection has just like gone through the roof.
Because they're like your support system.
They're literally
even like family and everything. So I feel like there's a lot of like good in being single, and I feel like I really enjoyed being single when I was single, because it is like such an opportunity to grow. And I was literally having this conversation with like two of my best friends recently, where it's like there's some things that I feel like you can only learn and go through when you're single, and then there's other things that you can only learn and experience when you're in a relationship. And every relationship is going to be something different, because it's going to bring up something different from your past or something from your previous relationship, and you don't know what that is until you get into a new relationship. But it's the same with like being single. Like I did the most growth for sure.
In these last single. 7 months, I have become a different person. The start of this year, not in a million years could I have moved to Amsterdam.
That's crazy.
Like moved abroad alone.
Yeah.
Like not in a million years.
What do you feel like changed the most, or like what did you do to change so much?
I think I just became a lot more open-minded. I became much more of like a yes person. So I would start saying yes to certain experiences and then being like, oh, I would have hated that before, and actually I didn't hate that because I've given it a chance.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't much of like a clubber. Going out. Obviously I like to drink, but like not crazy drinking and stuff. Not that I do that now. But
now she's a raver.
But even like I went to my first rave. Like I went to Ibiza on a girls' holiday. And we went to like crazy clubs and raves until like 6 in the morning. I would have like, I wouldn't have necessarily hated it if I'd done that, but I've never given myself the opportunity to do that when I was in a relationship. I'm trying to think, even just like, so for me, the reason like I started the reason I knew that it was like the right time was because I'd created like a space for myself in my life that I knew I could depend on myself. And that sort of, because I really did depend on my ex, and that sort of like dependability on myself and that like switch, I was like, oh, okay, I'm okay on my own. Like this is okay. And I think that was the start. Like 2023 for me has just been like the biggest year of like growth and finding out who I am, what I want to be, what I want the people around me to be like, what I want out of my life or like my year. And then I feel like going into 2024 it's gonna like
just like solidify.
Basically I'm gonna do like, I've done all like the work this year. Well, not all the work, obviously. I'm still gonna
all the work is done.
never need to work on myself again. But like in 2024 I can really like embrace that, and because I've done all the steps to get to that point now. I'm like, whew, I can just like really enjoy the year.
That's I really love that. I feel like it's honestly such a good feeling when you know that you've got yourself, you've got your own back, and then that means you can do whatever you want, and push yourself out of your comfort zone like even more. And
even going back to like my high this week about having like a night by myself and not feeling lonely and stuff, like I would never have had that mindset. I think I just had a negative mindset when it came to, again, talking about mindset, I think I just had a negative mindset when it came to a lot of things in like the past, because I almost like didn't let myself have a positive mindset about it. So like even going to Ibiza on a girls' holiday, I would have been like, oh, we're going to be clubbing, we're going to be drinking, we're going to be staying up late, like I hate that, like I don't want to do it, blah blah. Whereas now I was like, well, I don't know if I like it, but like might as well give it a shot and just like have a positive mindset with it.
But I also think it's really important to like learn to like spend more time on your own and just like be comfortable with like your own company.
Well, this is the first time in my life I've actually like spent time on my own, like literally in my own thoughts and everything.
That's crazy.
And like because of the positive mindset, like I can really like, so I just like feel really grateful for that time. Like I feel like that's the time where you do the most growing, is when you're alone in your thoughts and have that sort, when you have the gratitude, it allows you to like grow even more.
We love gratitude.
We do. I'm a big gratitude girly.
Okay, so let's get into the questions. I love this question. How to not seek male validation in every single move you make? Every move you make.
Okay. Obviously, I think it's something you're going to naturally, as a woman, like you are just going to seek male validation, I think.
Or whatever gender.
Yeah, of course. Validation from others. But I think, I don't know, I'm trying to think, because I obviously still do seek male validation. Like it's nice to have people fancy you or think you're interesting or get obsessed with you. Like, it's
We love obsession.
it's nice, but I think it comes when, like, a lot of the time, like, I will look in the mirror and I'll just think, like, you look like a toad, like, you look like a troll.
No.
But
What?
wait, let's see where I'm going with this. But then it doesn't, like, I know for me that doesn't mean, like, I'm trying to articulate this properly. I don't see male validation as necessarily
vomiting outside.
You might actually have to cut around this because I'm trying to, like, figure out the right way to say it. But for me, the way I look isn't the most interesting thing about me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm intelligent. I've got my own thoughts. I've got my own opinions. I have hobbies. I have passions. I have, like, projects going on and stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what's interesting about me.
Yeah.
Not the way I look.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, as a person, like, I still wear makeup and I do my hair and I wear cute outfits and stuff. So I obviously want to present a certain character, or, like, certain, like, present in a certain way to other people.
Yeah.
But I know at the forefront of it, the way I look is the least interesting thing about me.
Yeah.
And that mindset helped with male validation.
Yeah.
Because male validation is only going to come from looks and the way you look and everything. Like, physically, your body, the way your makeup looks, the way your hair looks and stuff. And I think when you realize that that's literally the least interesting thing about you, you're going to start associating with men that don't find that the most interesting thing about you.
Yeah.
Like, the way you look. And I think that will, like, slowly help in when you, like, realize, yeah, I think that's...
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I don't know if I've articulated that properly.
I feel like the validation thing is so interesting because I feel like that was, like, the biggest learning, like, it was, like, the most painful realization I think I had to make.
It takes a while.
Because I honestly think when I was in with my ex, I don't think me seeking male validation had properly stopped. Like, I think I was still on the hunt for it, or, like, was still craving it from other people. Yeah. It's almost like the relationship wasn't enough. And obviously that's not good, like, for your partner or yourself. Yeah. But I just don't think I was properly, like, aware of it. And I know that I did, like, a lot of, like, damaging behaviors, especially when I was, like, an older teenager, like 16 to 18, but then also, like, at uni and then in a relationship. Like, I just behaved in a lot of ways that were, like, damaging to myself and ultimately also others. Yeah. Because I was, like, seeking that attention, craving the validation, but not realizing that that was the motive behind it. And I feel like for me it was, like, because it's honestly, like, you don't want to admit to yourself that it's something you want, or that it's something that, like, makes you feel better. Of
course you don't admit it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because why would you? That's too easy.
Exactly. So I feel like that was, like, one of the biggest, like, I don't know, things I had to admit to myself. And then I went off men for, like, half a year or something like that. And I was like, I'm not even going to allow myself to, like, message anyone, but it was also practical because it was COVID, so it was very easy. And then I had to do, like, exactly what you're doing now in terms of just, like, sitting with myself, learning to be, like, completely okay with, like, what if it's just you?
Yeah.
And you're just fine with yourself as you are.
I always say, so no one is going, like, you've got to stop finding, like, home and validation and comfort in other people, because the only person that's always going to be there for yourself is you.
Yeah. I love the home thing.
Yeah, so, like, because when I was talking about, like, living alone and stuff, and even when I did my, like, breakup episode, I was talking about the fact that instead of finding home in a place and a person and a thing, if you find it from within, then it means that you're never going to lose it. You never have to rely on anyone else for that feeling of comfort and home and like literally, like, validation and stuff, because you find it from within.
Yeah. And then also you're never going to accept anything less than the person who's going to make your life, like, tremendously better.
Exactly.
Because there's true love there. Yeah. But again, I feel like it's also almost, like, helps a relationship if you know you don't, quote unquote, need them, but you want them to be in your life. And then that's 100%. Like, I think a big difference in terms of making the relationship work and appreciating each other, but still being independent, like, within it, which again is, like, a whole struggle in itself. But I feel like it's, and you do the work being single.
Yeah, Exactly. So when you get into a new relationship, that's the point where you're like, okay, I'm ready for this. Like, I want this. It's adding to my life. It's this, it's that.
Yeah.
I definitely went through a phase after me and my ex had broken up, because I was like traveling around Europe, and then like it was a summer, hot girl summer, everything. And I'd been in a relationship since I was 16, so I'd never like experienced like kissing guys in clubs or like getting, because I was so shut off from anything, because I just didn't see it. I would literally like a horse, like I just like, you know, when the horses have like blinders on, I didn't see men like looking at me or anything. Like, I just didn't notice it. And then obviously through summer I was like, whoa, this is crazy, and I loved it. Obviously it makes you feel really, really good. And then I actually like took it too far. And it just happened so many times. And then I have like these journal entries of this, like after this night out, and I was like, I hate men. They just like, they never make you feel as good as you think they're gonna feel, and this and that and everything. And I was like, if Emily was here, like I wouldn't feel like Emily's my best friend. And in all of my journal, I'm just like talking about the fact that, you know, if I was spending the night with Emily, I wouldn't feel like shit. Blah, blah, blah. And there's nothing to do with how these men act, because they're genuinely like really nice, like no bad experiences with them. But it was just from within that I would just like over and over and over again. I tried to seek this male validation and it never felt as good as I thought it was going to feel. And then I like swore off men for a little bit, and now I'm in my swearing off men era again.
I feel like it is like the waves. Like you go through the waves of like, oh my god, like dating apps are exciting, and then you go on a couple of days and you're like, fuck,
men are not.
Oh, okay, next question. I don't know if we've kind of talked about this, but in terms of like loneliness, so maybe any advice that you have. So we got 2 questions about this that are kind of similar, but one of them is like how to feel less lonely during like the winter time holidays, and then also I think this is quite interesting, like what to do about the random waves of loneliness you feel in your 20s. You have friends but feeling lonely, or like everyone is going in different directions, friends moving away, marrying. And I actually feel like that's not only when you're single, like I feel like that's also in relationship too, because it's just, I feel like your 20s are so full of change, and everyone is changing, and you could be at like completely different points in your life even though you're the same age, because that's like, some people are like married with kids at like 25. I'm not married with kids. But yeah, 25 would be like a very normal age
to be married with kids.
Which I'm definitely not there yet.
Absolutely fucking petrifying.
But it's an interesting time to be alive.
It sure is. I think in terms of loneliness, how I like combat it on a day-to-day, I try not to go a day without like speaking to anyone. Because so I live alone. I work remotely. All my friends have boyfriends. So I try to make it so like I don't go a day without seeing anyone or like speaking with someone. Also like finding like little habits that you enjoy. I think so. I actually spoke about this literally in the episode I recorded on Monday. So I said finding little habits you enjoy, creating like routines on your own. So like in my house, like I've got a morning routine, I've got a nighttime routine.
Love it.
That like, you know, by the time it's done, you know, if you, for example, work a 9 to 5, you could have a little morning routine like 7:30 till 8:30, and then you commute to work at 8:30. So you don't feel alone in that time. And then you're working 9 to 5 in an office or a space or what have you with other people. So again, you don't feel so lonely. And then have, I don't know, make plans with friends or do a workout class. So you're just keeping active and creating like good habits that put you in a good mindset. Because again, I do think loneliness is a lot about mindset. Like the last 2 nights I was here, I could have fully been like, oh, I'm so lonely, I've got no one to hang out with. Blah, blah, blah. But like, I just made sure my mind didn't go there. And sometimes if I do feel like that, I'll just journal. And I always think as well, like when I'm journaling, I'm like, this isn't gonna help, like shitting on journaling. And then by the end of it, I'm like, wow, this is actually like my mindset is completely changed. Like it's so much better. Just from journaling. So I think obviously loneliness is a lot about mindset, but having those like healthy routines that keep your mind healthy, I cannot fault. Like that was when I started. So in January of this year, me and like my best friend Emily, who I keep mentioning, because we fucking do everything together. so we started like, we were like, right, new year, like I hate the whole new year, new me, but we were like in such bad mindsets. We were like, we're gonna get up, we're gonna do a workout, we're gonna go for a little walk, like see, like, get some fresh air, have some breakfast, and then by like 9:30ish we're ready to start with like uni work. And we did that, and genuinely I credit that as one of the reasons like my mindset has completely changed this year, is because that routine like shifted things for me. And it is just about like having like a really healthy mind, giving your body what it needs. So if you need extra sleep, have a lie in, or if you're constantly tired, like look at like why that might be, or you know, eating nutritiously, because like for me, whenever I notice the way I feel aligns with what I eat, so when I'm eating like nutritious foods, like eating vegetables, I'll feel better. Or like if I'm letting myself, if I have a craving and I'm letting myself eat the craving, I'll feel better, like things like that. So I think that really helps with loneliness. In terms of like loneliness as like more of a concept instead of like an actual in like day-to-day thing, I think it's all about acceptance, and that loneliness, like things are going to change, and accepting the change but not necessarily seeing it as a bad thing. Because even with me, like a lot of my friends are going off and doing their own things. Like I'm still really close with like my group at high school. I was really close with then, and all of us are on different paths. But like for example, we've planned like a Christmas thing, so we're all going to come back together in my hometown on like the 27th to do our own little Christmas, and we try and do that every year, even if it's just like an evening. Like there was literally, that was the only evening in like the 2 week span over Christmas that we could all do. So like, God, I know that's like the reality of adulthood, isn't it? But I think that acceptance and that mindset of like, okay, everything's changing, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because I'm moving on, I'm meeting new people, like I'm at a stage in my life I'm happy with, that like just like feel, just like shift the mindset to accept the change and also feel grateful for the time you are like in. Because I think when you do that, it puts a lot of things into perspective. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I feel like I've been waffling on that.
No, it makes a lot of sense. I feel like it's all like, I like the word perspective, or even like in terms of journaling, I feel like that's what it gives me when I am journaling. Because I feel like it can be so easy to feel lonely, but you're not really. And I feel like it's, even if it's one person in your life that cares about you, I'm sure there's more than one person, but that matters. And I feel like it's so easy to sometimes discredit it, or like don't properly see the people that are there for you, and just be so focused on like what you feel like is lacking in your life versus like seeing what's actually there. And again, I feel like the like habits are like making sure that you're also putting yourself out there to combat it. Like I feel like it's the inner work in terms of the acceptance. And I think often, I don't know, loneliness is it's more of something that like happens in your mind versus the actual reality of it. Because I feel like you could be living alone, and probably if you're like more of an introverted type, and not feel lonely because you're happy with your own company. And I think different things like work for different people. But I do think it's important. Like I feel like at the end of the day we are like social beings, and I have no idea like where I am on the scale. I feel like I'm like somewhere exactly in the middle. Like I don't know, I feel very recharged if I'm hanging out with people that like fill me up, but then if I'm like in groups where I like don't know loads of people, or it's like, I don't know, a networking event or shit like that, then I feel like drained after. And I like need my time to recharge. Also, I feel like everything comes in waves, so
there might be saying all of this and then next week just feel like really, really lonely.
And even especially like I feel like social media is always like the devil, where like you look at different people's feeds and you're like, they would never feel this way. Like I'm the only person who feels lonely.
Do not like social media. Although social media is a great thing because it allows you to connect with people, never see it as real life,
because it's not reality.
No, not at all.
So, but I feel like that can be like a really toxic pattern to get into when you are comparing yourself. And then, it's just like you get stuck in a rut. But actually it's just ebbs and flows. And there'll be days where you'll feel lonely, but then the next day you'll feel better. And you'll, like, your mindset will shift, or, you know, maybe it's even just like one quote you see that like shifts your perspective. Or
sometimes it is just like a random thing that will shift your perspective.
Or a book.
Or a book.
Or a movie.
I think it's also good to like know that like have someone that you're like, I know if I call them I'll feel
Yeah.
better. So like even if like for example you're living alone and you're lonely one night, just like FaceTime a friend.
Yeah.
So we have that technology, we have that ability just to be like, oh, we'll just like FaceTime and just like speak like we're together.
Yeah. Find like safe spaces for you. Even if it's like, I feel like sometimes it's even like a comfort show. Like for me, it's Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Because I like used to watch it with my mom. And I feel like when I like hear the theme tune, I honestly don't know if we watched it that much, but in my head I associate it, like with my mom and with like coziness and everything. So when I hear the theme tune, I'm like, oh, everything is alright in the world. Like I would never feel lonely when I'm watching that show. So I feel like it's even just like finding small things that you know you can do to like get you out of the headset and like get you out of feeling that way. And yeah, it's just the 20s are weird in terms of everyone.
They're really
being
weird.
In different
You're gonna
spaces.
just have to literally keep navigating it, basically.
Yeah.
You're never gonna be able to be like, oh, this really works for me, and it's gonna stay the same because everything changes all the time.
Yeah, and we're not even at that point yet where at least like I don't think either of us are where like people are getting married like that are close to us around us. So I went to one wedding last year of like a friend, but she like it wasn't like a close friend's wedding. But I feel like it's gonna hit me if it's like a close friend's wedding, Cara's wedding. I'm waiting for it. That's gonna be wild. I'm gonna be like, wow. But that's also it's just gonna make me happy in terms of that's cool for them that they're like in that stage of life, and I've got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do 2 more questions because I don't know how long we've been recording.
No, I don't know either. I can't see.
Okay, so one question we got like on Instagram Q&As and it like keeps popping back up, and when I posted about it I had a lot of people responding and being like, I feel the same way, or I'm this and this old, and it's basically like being this person's 18, specifically the one that I like copy and pasted out, and never having been in any relationship, any advice. But I know that there's different people that I've messaged who they could be like in their 20s or you know, and maybe not have that experience. Like one person also said, which I feel like is kind of similar, they're scared of dating, never done it, never in a situationship, never been kissed, too old, and people will judge. Which I feel like even the phrasing of this is very interesting because you're clearly just judging like yourself for not having had certain experiences when what even means like too old. Like I mean I don't know how old you are, but
it's not a
I don't think there's
no
any
normal
age
at all.
So yeah, I wonder. I'm gonna let you speak. What are your thoughts on this?
So okay, just to start with, I really don't believe relationships are the be all end all. I have learnt so much more from my female friendships than I have ever learned from relationships. About myself, about the world, about love. Like, I will always say that my female friendships have taught me unconditional love because I've never experienced that in romantic relationships. But friendships, like my female friendships, have shown me unconditional love. And now my female friendships are the blueprint for romantic relationships, because in my head I'm like, if a relationship isn't the same as mine and Emily's, and in a romantic sense but better, like there'd be no point because I already have that female friendship. So like now that my standards are so much higher because my female friendships are so incredible, and that for me is like, okay, I know I don't need a relationship because I don't, if I'm not going to learn anything from it, like I can learn more from my female friendship. So a relationship for me like really isn't like the be all end all. Obviously, like I understand where you're coming from in the sense of like it is scary, and at the age of 18, you know, you're just starting uni, feeling like everything's like kind of going up. My sister, she won't mind me saying, and she probably won't listen, but she has just gone to uni and she's 18 and she's never had a relationship. And
I mean, I didn't either.
I did, but like, you know, it's just like everyone's experiences are so different.
I honestly feel like, because I felt very similarly up to a certain point. Like I also felt like, for example, I only had sex when I was 18. I don't know if this is like TMI, but I had sex the night before I went to uni. And I do remember like I really liked the guy I was seeing at the time, and because I was very much like, oh, I want to wait for like the right person. But I wonder if subconsciously there was also something of like, I don't want to go to uni and not have had the sexual experience, which obviously, I mean, again, I really don't don't regret anything because I feel like it was with the right guy at the right time.
You can't regret things like.
Yeah. But I do think it's interesting that I know that was in the back of my head, and I remember like being in school and like everyone talking about certain dating experiences and like wanting to have them or feeling bad if I like hadn't had certain experiences versus others. And I remember like very vividly crying to like my friends about, oh, I'm never gonna find someone who I like and they like me back.
That's me now.
Because it's so hard. Like, it is hard to find, like, it's easy to find someone that likes you, or it's easy to like someone, but to find like the that two equal. In the middle.
Yeah. I've been having like dating crisis over the past few weeks. And Leo said, she's like, yeah, like it's so nice when it's like equal. I was like, fuck, it is really nice when it's equal. And that's when I was like, that's what I'm looking for now.
Yeah.
Is when it's completely equal. Like, you can both be obsessed with each other, you can both be like nonchalant about each other, but it's just when it's uneven, when someone, it's like, when from one side it's different to the other side.
Yeah, because then you're going to be anxious either way.
Yeah.
Like, you're either anxious because it's stressful if someone is really obsessed with you, you're not with them, because that obviously, like, as a human being with feelings, you'd feel bad about it. Or the reverse, if you're obsessed with someone, they're not back. That's also like the most heartbreaking feeling ever, because you're chasing something that you will never have.
And I've had both of those.
Yeah, I think
2 weeks.
Love that.
Slay.
I feel like we've all like had the both of it, and it's just like that's what like I don't know dating is about, and that's why it's so like heart-wrenching, and then the next moment you're like on top of the world.
So invigorating, because it's just like your feelings are just all over the place. That's the issue.
It's also in a way like I feel like sometimes a distraction. Like I definitely have used dating as a distraction, almost like because it gives you something to think about and to focus on and all of this, which I feel like again can have like pros and cons in itself. But I would definitely say I have several friends who are like in their 20s, have never been in a relationship before, like maybe situationships, but even that, like there's again just like different people do things at a different pace and speed. And I definitely think what you were saying about female friendships, like not only do you learn via like the relationships that you have with them or your male friends, like whatever close bonds you have, but also I think you learn via the relationships that they have.
Yeah.
So I feel like a friend of mine is in like quite a similar position, and she always says that like, and I know this for her, like I know that she's never going to make the mistakes that like some of us have had, because she's seen it all play out through other people, and her standards are so fucking high. Because and rightfully so. Exactly. In terms of like you just wouldn't accept things that, versus like if sometimes I think if you're really craving something, or I know for myself, like I definitely maybe accepted things that I shouldn't have accepted or stayed in situations longer than I should have. But I feel like the more experience you have in terms of watching other people go through things, learning about relationships from an outside perspective, then you're not gonna have those experiences and like heartbreaks and ultimately like just, I don't want to call it baggage because that sounds bad, but like almost like trauma that you have to bring into the next relationship. Because that's like having a relationship doesn't always have to be like something that makes you more relationship compatible like the next time, or more dateable. Like it can actually sometimes really do damage in terms of how you feel about yourself or your view on love. So I definitely just wouldn't be too hard on yourself. Also, like for you that's 18, like you're so young.
Oh my god. Like I'm young and I'm 21. I'm 3 years older than you.
Yeah.
And I feel like uni is like a shaping time. Like I look back at myself when I went into my first year of uni, like at the stage you're at now, and I was a baby.
I was a completely different person at 18.
Yeah.
Like I would be interested to have a conversation with her.
Oh my god.
And be like, I don't think what the
fuck literally me. I don't think I could. But yeah, so what was the second question?
It was just like being scared of dating and like and feeling judged potentially, like for never having kissed someone.
So I think honestly in terms of dating, I think I would recommend going on dating apps and chatting with people. I personally hate texting, but when I first was like actually looking to date, which was when I moved to Amsterdam, I was like, oh well, I might as well like go and like chat, because like it just takes the pressure away. Also like going on like low pressure dates where there's like no expectations, you don't need like literally like no pressure, and you're just like going for a drink or going for a coffee. Like just see it as like meeting a new person, like regardless of whether it's a date or anything. see it as meeting a new person. And when you like start to do it, like the more you do it, the less daunting it is. Like after that first time, like everything is always going to be way more daunting in your head. Yeah, just rip it off, literally, and just give it a go.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I also feel like in terms of like the judgment, it's often you're going to be judging yourself way more harshly than anyone else. And if the other person that you're starting to see or that you're interested in actually does judge you, then they're not the right person for you. That's like 1,000%. Because I honestly feel like people always have it in their head of like, oh, they're going to judge me for having this or for having done this at a certain age. And it could even be the reverse. Like they could judge me for having done things too early or, you know, whatever there is. There's always something that you think you can judge yourself for, even though you just need to, the acceptance thing, right? Accept that that's where your life has taken you. That's where you are. And that's like what makes you beautiful and unique and like has brought you to the point you are now, where you are with that specific person. And because when I'm thinking about like, okay, if Marco had told me that he hadn't been in a relationship before or hadn't had experiences before, like what would I have thought? I think maybe it's like it could have been like a surprise, but I don't think it ever would have been like, whoa, like what the fuck is wrong with you? But that's in your head what you think the other person is gonna think. But
I think as well, you actually don't have to divulge any information about you that you don't want to. Like if you don't want to, if you're, I don't know, 25 and you haven't been kissed or if you haven't had sex, you don't need to tell anyone.
You can decide when is the right person, what are the right people to like tell.
Exactly. And as well, like in terms of like being worried about like sex and kissing and that kind of thing, like it does just come naturally. Like it is just like biological. Like it is just like, don't be worried about kissing wrong or like on the first time or something. Like just don't worry. Like
just don't worry.
Yeah, just don't worry generally.
To everything.
Yeah, because there's no one's gonna know. It will come naturally. You know, the other person will probably take the lead if you're feeling like more nervous about it. Yeah, I just think.
And I also definitely think like this is maybe the polar opposite, but I think because I remember like it was my first time when it was my first time, but it wasn't that person's first time, and I remember like talking to him about it and like that it was important to me and all of this, and I think he in turn was like very kind and understanding and like maybe more gentle with me or, you know, set things up in like a really romantic way to make it special, all these things. Not saying that like every guy will do that or that that's what you want.
That's the way it has to be.
But... Exactly. But I think it sometimes helps if like to just take your mind off it, and as in like ease the anxiety. To also just like being honest, and it doesn't have to be telling your whole entire relationship history history, but it can just be like, oh, just to let you know, like you can even be like, I haven't done this in a while, or you could be like, I haven't done this ever.
That's a good way to say it. I would come up with like certain phrases. Like generally in dating, I have like certain phrases.
Go on.
So I'm trying now. I won't be able to think of any because it just like comes to me. But like even like I would always say like, do you want to X over a drink? Do you want to show me that song or like talk about that music over a drink? And that's my first way to be like, I haven't actually tested anything in person yet, so I do need to come up with some phrases for in person. I always think a good one is, do you have any good recommendations for X?
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you've moved to a new
city.
Get them
talking.
Yeah.
Everyone loves to talk about things they love.
Yeah. And then, like, I'm trying to think if there's any others.
Do you have, like, a standard breakup text that you, like, copy and paste?
Well, no, established that I don't. Because I've never, like, this is literally my first time dating. I've just kind of, like, had to, like, break it off with someone because they were just very intense.
You have to copy and paste this message now into your notes.
Yeah, but I feel like this
so
is
you can adapt
situation.
Yeah.
Like, in my ideal world, I'll never have to break up with anyone and I'll just ignore them.
That's also a solution. One way to do it.
Clearly, it doesn't work.
No. This is the problem. Like, I feel like ghosting works sometimes and in certain scenarios.
Yeah. But we're all learning. That's the thing. It literally is the biggest learning curve.
Yeah. I've definitely ghosted some people when I was dating, and then it doesn't always feel good either. Like, because you kind of feel shitty if you're ghosting someone. Sometimes it works out and you just fade out. Because I feel like sometimes it's also like, A mutual fade.
If it's a mutual ghost,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
I had a mutual ghost and I was slightly heartbroken because I didn't like him. But I knew where he was coming from.
Yeah.
With it, so like it was a mutual ghost. But this one wasn't.
Alas.
It's fine. We live and we learn.
Exactly.
That's all. That's what our 20s is about.
Yeah, living and learning. Okay, on that note. Oh no, I feel like we've been talking for too long. Okay, one last question. We got a question for solo date ideas.
Oh.
I don't know if I think this one was like Christmas ideas, but I feel like in general like solo dates. So
things that I have done since being single. Painting candles, being crafty.
That's cute.
I love being crafty. Yeah, we should do it one night. We should do Christmas themed ones. So I love being crafty. So I got some candles and I got some paints from like Soster and Gren.
That's so
and
cute.
just like had a little night where I watched a film and painted some candles, and then like just like we're taking up a new hobby like knitting or crocheting. Even for me putting up my Christmas tree, I did that by myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is kind of like a little tradition now. That's my first Christmas in my new home. Going and getting a matcha or coffee, doing a workout class, starting a new good series.
I love that your idea of a date is going to a workout class.
It actually is though. Like I love it because I love just trying new things.
Yeah.
Like for me, I actually don't see workout classes as like fitness. Like obviously they are, and like yesterday was hard as fuck. But like
I'm honestly dead. Like if I tried to stand up, I'd be like.
We were doing. So I did Pilates this morning. We were doing stretches, and like my muscles around my shoulders were hurting. Like
I'm in
these
so much
muscles
pain.
here are like where did
when I tried to get up today, I mean I did successfully get up, but like when I was like first getting up out of bed, no, it was really, really hard.
Really painful. Or even just going for like treating yourself to like a facial or a massage or something. Getting your nails or doing your own nails at home.
I love that.
I feel like there's so many things. Or I feel like you can do really like mundane day-to-day activities and you can romanticize it into a date with yourself.
Romanticize your life. That is
literally
always
romanticize your life.
Put on a good like movie soundtrack in the back.
Yeah.
I feel like what I also love is like solo day trips. So I did this quite a bit when I was like living back in London. I mean, this was, to be fair, I gave myself almost like a reason because I had my great grandma who was in a home in Brighton. So I would like go visit her for the day. But I would not only go and see her, I'd like go to vintage shops. I'd like sit in a cafe and read a book or, you know, anything. Or just walk around the lanes or sit by the beach or anything like that. And I love solo day trips because you can do whatever the fuck you want. And
you don't need to think about anyone else.
No, you can stay in a cafe or in a bookshop as long as you want. For me, this is a big thing because Marco doesn't like to be in bookshops, or like there's like very few friends that can like stay in bookshops for as long as like I want to be in. Or again, you can read, like that's amazing. So I feel like that is something I love. And then you just like get to, again, put on some music, like enjoy the scenery, feel proud of yourself that you went somewhere on your own, that you haven't been to before. And it doesn't have to be like, I mean, to be fair, here, I've done a couple of mandatory solo day trips because I've had to like go to road places to like register myself in the fucking Dutch system. But even those were like really cute.
Yeah.
So I feel like it could even be you take something you have to do and make it into like a bigger event. And even if it's just you sit yourself in a coffee shop and you read, or it doesn't even have to be anything that you spend money on. Like you could just go into. You
could even go for a walk. Go to a local park.
I mean, going on a walk is a great date, anyways. And sitting and staring at like the water, or you know, bodies of water always. I really want
the canals to freeze over to learn how to ice skate.
I'm so bad at ice skating.
Me too. But I really want to like learn. Now we're Dutchies and living here, I feel like we have to learn.
I am definitely going to go with you. I just won't learn that well. I'm just going to be there like.
I've never done it before. Well, I have. My dad's really good because he's Dutch, so he used to like grab us and like.
I didn't know this was like a Dutch thing.
Yeah. Such a Dutch thing. There's a pond in their garden that froze over last year. He fucking started ice skating on it.
That is intense. That is true commitment to the ice skating.
Oh, honestly.
Ice skating
he has his own skates. What 50, 60-year-old man has their own skates? Like,
it's really cute.
People.
That is, I didn't know that about like the Dutch culture. I'm still learning a lot. But yeah, I feel like the essence of it is, it could even be, I think this also sounded scary, like going for food, but that could also be like challenge yourself to like go for lunch.
I've been on a few like solo holidays, And honestly, one of my favourite things was going for dinner because you got to choose where you went for dinner.
Yeah.
I just took my book with me. So I would just read my book at dinner with like a gin and tonic and a really nice meal.
Yeah.
Of like exactly what I wanted.
Basically, books are the solution to
Books
all
are
of your
actually the
problems.
solution. Always just carry a book around with you. Or your journals. Go to a park and journal. Or go to a coffee shop and
I did this a
journal.
lot in lockdown. I'd take myself on walks and listen to a podcast and then or to music, and then I'd sit myself down on a bench and journal. And even in the cold, that's maybe more difficult, but you can still do it.
You can still do it.
Just be like
some gloves.
Shaking whilst you're doing it.
Shivering. Don't make sure the entry isn't too long.
Yeah, exactly. Just even one line a day will do. Okay, so we're gonna end it here.
Okay.
And I hope you enjoyed it.
Oh, I hope you did too. Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Thank you for
the Matcha Diaries.
Yes. Also, do you want to plug your own podcast?
Okay. I have a podcast about navigating your 20s called the 20-something Diaries. And so me and Leo are going to be recording an episode that will come out like in the new year about moving to a new city. But I talk about like going through a breakup, like how you make new friends, moving abroad, navigating university, like literally anything you can think of about being in your 20s I talk about.
Yeah, which I feel like is going to be very on brand for like the people that are listening to this. It's so funny that like both our podcasts are like diaries about just being in your 20s.
I didn't even realise though either until you said it the other day. You were like, oh, we're both diaries. I was like, we are both diaries.
So I feel like if you like this podcast, you're probably going to like our podcast.
Yes.
So go listen. And yeah, I hope you're having a great day. And
enjoying Podmas.
Yes, enjoying Podmas. And new episode coming in 2 days. And yeah, speak to you very soon. Bye.
Bye.